Alright, good morning. Today, I thought we would go over my Uncanny X-Men box. We're going to start with some trade paperbacks that weren't in the box, but they were ones that I think tie in. X-Men got Loves, Man Kills. I've got that trade paperback there. We've got the Extinction Agenda, which would come after that. I'm not quite sure where this one comes through. I got the Uncanny X-Men Days of Future Past trade paperback. Our Dark Phoenix, which I think might have been the oldest one, which should go first. Yeah, because Kitty Pryde came in after Dark Phoenix. From the Ashes, I'm thinking is after the Dark Phoenix saga. And the Inferno, which you can kind of see there. So we're going to go with this order right now. Now, I do have this one as well, which I'm not even sure where this one came from. I don't know if one of my daughters got it for me, but that's pretty cool. This one we'll put over here, and the Executioner Saga, or Executioner Song, that will be the latest. So then, those are the trade paperbacks. You know, if you don't know, trade paperbacks are a collection of storylines put into one graphic novel. And we'll start now with my Uncanny X-Men issues, which would be X-Men Volume 1 that changed to Uncanny X-Men after a while. Annuals, of course, are always at the back. This one would be Days of Future Present, which is a sequel to Days of Future Past. Deals with Rachel Summers, Franklin Richards, their Kid Boy maybe in the future. Let me see. Annual 95, Annual 96, Annual 97, Annual 98, Annual, no year? Yeah, it just says Annual. Annual 2000, so probably 99. Yeah, see, she's from Gen X here. Ooh, this one looks grumpy. Oh, there's one of those ones that was the flip up. Weird. Any of you guys ever have that issue where the flaps just don't stay in? And then the -1, you've seen me talk about these. The Boy Who Saw Tomorrow, not quite sure. Alright. So, what are we looking at now? What's next? 169. Wow. I don't know how I end up with that one. This is really old compared to what some of mine are. 172. Ooh. When Logan was going to get married to Hiroto. 200. 201. 212. 213. So I've got some older ones. I thought my my Gambit issue would have been my oldest ones. Just look at the difference, you know, this is like way back in the day. 219. Just trying to figure out years based off the cover. Anybody have any idea on how I can do that easily? Let me know. 228. 229. Well, some of them are, you know, a couple issues here and there. I see 230. That's a 3-issue run. 242. See Inferno. I got the trade paperback you saw over here. That's a crossover, at least with X Factor. 244. 250. 265. Yep, and here we're coming up. 266, my Gambit issue. That's his first appearance. Now, technically, one of the annuals was his first appearance. but that's because this issue was delayed, so this was supposed to be his first appearance. Yeah, so we got 267. Just continuing on. Ooh, look at that. That would be Captain America, Black Widow, and Wolverine. I wonder if that's a flashback. 269, you can see Rogue fighting Miss Marvel, the original. And then the Extinction Agenda. That one has to do with, I think, Genosis. We'd have to look into it. 271, see more Extinction Agenda. So those are coming in. What do we got next? Alright. 272. And then there's Cable. 273. 274. 275. See, is this where they come out with the new uniforms? And they started wearing uniforms like these around this time, it looks like. 276. 77, yep, Gambit and Wolverine fighting. 278, yeah, so no missing issue there. 279, 280. See, there, X Factors for the Mirror Island Saga. That one, I don't know if I ever read all those issues. And here, 281. So this one ties into the same month as the X-Men Volume 2, number 1. So this is where they kind of split them into the blue and gold teams. And then we get to see Bishop. We talked about Bishop in my last video. We went over a couple of his limited series and then his ongoing series, at least from up until 2004, 2005. The Archangel. The XSE, Xavier's security enforcers that came with Bishop. Only Bishop ended up remaining. Oop, back when Storm and Forge were hooking up. 290. 291. 292. That's a pretty cool cover. 293. Yeah, a lot of these are really old. I don't remember. 294. Executioner Saga. I love that storyline. You're going to get a rereading. And there we got them all that it's going to be. And then there's just, you know, the next one. I like that they've got the lister on the bag. These came bagged, and if you look, I still got the trading cards in the bags that came with the original issues. Yeah. Yeah, Strife, as you know, he was Cable's clone, but at the time of this, he was not known as Cable's clone. And then there's a epilogue issue, which is featured in here, but there's also another X-Force issue that isn't featured in here, but should be. Magneto's Acolytes. Issue 299. So, of course, issue 300 should be a big one. Let's see what it looks like. Look at that, 30 years of X-Men. Wow, 1963 to 93. And this is right around 93 is when I started purchasing them. Maybe 94. I ended up going back. So we got 301 there. And then let's look what's coming next. 302 and 303. I think someone dies. Oh, someone had gotten the legacy virus here, and I think it was Colossus's little sister. I think that's what's important about that one. I got 2 issues there. Yeah, I'm going to eventually go back through. And Fatal Attractions. This is one, too, where at the end of it, Magneto gets his adamantium ripped out, but Magneto had attacked all 6 core series. So that's another one that I'll do a future video on where I go through all 6 issues. 305. 306. Oh, leading up to the Flanex. Yeah, definitely going to go through and pull out all my doubles. I decided that's something I got to do. And then the Blood Ties. This is where they had to do with, I think, Magneto's children again. Oh, this is a lead up to these two getting engaged. And she was an old flame that was part of Magneto's acolytes. There's an episode of X-Men the Animated Series, I think called Sanctuary, where Magneto raises an asteroid and he's got all the acolytes following him, and then Professor Xavier's got to go up and talk.
Mutant powers are a resource to be managed like any other.
The mutant race will no longer be managed, Mr. Delegate. You will all remain seated until I have finished. Ladies, gentlemen, you have been chosen to witness the announcement of a momentous event in the history of our planet. The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Hear me! Magnus, you are alive.
You failed, Cortez. The Earth's magnetic field has healed me, as a mother nourishes her son. Now I will have my vengeance.
So this is cool because this is shortly before this one, you know, in the time they realized that Cable was Cyclops' son from the little boy from X Factor, you know, and Jean Grey's clone son, Madeline Pryor. So, and I believe this was kind of his bachelor party. 311, Bishop and Sabretooth. 312. Once again, see it leading up to the Phoenix, which should be the next one. No. Oh, this is where Emma Frost had taken over Bobby's body for a little bit and used his powers in a way he's never could. Judgment at Avalon. Colossus had joined the acolytes, Magneto's acolytes, to take care of Magneto because he was disenfranchised with Professor Xavier's dream because his little sister died. And there we go, the Phoenix Covenant. This is a good one that leads into Gen X, but it's stretched out. You can kind of see Generation X Part 1. That was the X-Men and Uncanny X-Men issues. X-Force, X-Factor, and Excalibur had their own storyline, and then Wolverine and Cable had their own storyline. See the Prismatic Edition and then the regular edition. Prismatic Edition. Only had the Prismatic Edition. Alright, and this is where Jubilee decides to leave the X-Men and join Gen X. Oop, Archangel and Cyclops starting there, you know. Romantic tryst for a few years. Legion Quest. So you saw in my X Factor and X-Men videos, but yeah, this is where David Haller kind of pulls his mind together and he's gonna be going through his quest to get the childhood he always wanted. Yeah, definitely gonna have to pull at the doubles. Yeah, see Cable and Bishop, that's more got to do with the Legion Quest. And those can go there. Ooh, I am gonna run out of room, guys. So then we've got another double issue. And this would probably be... So, in Legion Quest 4, which is in the X-Men, Professor Xavier dies in the past, and it spawns off the Age of Apocalypse. And then this is where it takes a 4-month hiatus, and this would have been Astonishing X-Men or Amazing X-Men. I can't remember which one Uncanny X-Men went into. They did their thing for 4 issues, and then they came back after X-Men Prime to show who stopped the Juggernaut. Tip, or spoiler, it was Onslaught. Cannonball had joined the X-Men, I believe, after the Phoenix Covenant as well. He joined the X-Men when kind of graduating from New Mutants to X-Force to the X-Men. So that was cool when they brought Cannonball on up. So you got more... Well, yeah, I could save a lot of... And then I could save a lot of room by taking out the doubles. And I don't know what to do with those. Probably have to hit the eBay. Keep the better cover issues. There's an anniversary issue. This one, she fights Gene Nation, I think, which is the Morlocks. Meryl had stepped up and all the way out. She ended up having to fight Meryl for leadership of the Morlocks again, just again to stop their terrorist stuff. Because after X-Men Prime, we learned a little bit more about the Morlocks, and Dark Beast had digging around in there from the AOA genetic experiments. Oh, 2 issues. Evil Natures. Gambit had ended up in a coma after the Age of Apocalypse because him and Oro Christ right before the M'Kraan Crystal wave hit, and then he was waking up. And of course, him and Sabretooth have a cantankerous past. I think this is where we meet Joseph, the de-aged Magneto, who wasn't actually de-aged. Clone, maybe? I can't quite remember. Cyclops and Sabretooth fighting again. I think this is where Wolverine tries to teach Angel some ways to let go of his anger, because you know Wolverine had to do that oftentimes, and for some reason at this time Archangel was kind of mad. Let's see, Generation X and Iceman, or Emma Frost and Iceman, due to the whole swapping body thing. Ooh, and Ozymandias, he's a disciple of Apocalypse, so this is where they started getting into some of that. 333, 334. Ooh, Onslaught update inside. Like I said, he was coming. Yeah, definitely gotta get rid of the doubles. Yeah, Onslaught Phase 1. So this is where we'd end up with the whole finding out that Charles Xavier's consciousness got infected by Magneto's dark side and formed the Onslaught, who wanted ultimate power. So that's Franklin Richards. Eventually, they had gotten Nate Gray as well. But you can kind of see these issues. Oh, at the time, Sabretooth had clawed his biomechanical wings, and then his regular wings grew back, but he was still blue. And then Brother vs. Brother, this must have been when Havoc decided to go undercover as the Mutant Underground, or Brotherhood of Mutants. Okay, Iceman, I believe that was his father. Cannonball, alone against the power of the Guardian. I think that was his name. From the Shi'ar Empire, into the Void. This is where they had to go into space. And we get a little bit more of Rogue and Gambit kind of in here. They're out helping the Shi'ar. That the Phalanx is in space as well. And these are from 1997. Wow. Yep, they had to team up with Landra's younger sister, Deathbird, I think, maybe. Ooh, and Maggot, we talked about him. His stomachs are his mutant power. They're like little beetles. And we get more of Meryl. In that 325 issue we talked about earlier, Storm had ended up pulling out her heart, but I guess she had 2. Ooh, Gambit's crushed. And then there's Maggot again. Oh, look at that. Here, they got these two working up to their breakup. They had, and I believe their powers might have been missing around this time, too. And then it switched back to Maggot. And then 350. I should have more than one issue. Let's see. 2. So this one's the prismatic one. Yeah, a couple of them. These I probably won't get rid of. But with these, I actually had them convert a tattoo artist way back when I was just like 19 or 20. His hand into a tattoo. I'll see if I can pop a picture up. But yeah, this is where they review his secret. We don't really find out why in this issue, but he had put together the Morlock, or the Marauders, who launched the Morlock massacre for Sinister. We find out later on it's because his powers were under control, and Sinister helped tone the powers down back to their alpha levels. And 351, and this is in after the Onslaught stuff and going into Operation Zero Tolerance. Unless that only ran in a different issue. Look, Rogue kind of going psycho. Sauron. And there's Alpha Flight. Look at that. Some of the... Oh, the original X-Men. A Plague Upon Them. Don't quite remember that one. 2 Against the Galaxy. 359. Okay, so what is 360? Because it looks like there's a special one. Giant size milestone issue. Don't remember what that one was about. Oh, okay. So the search for Xavier. They want to go find Xavier. Turns out Cerebral's running a protocol that makes X-Men to fight the X-Men. Very weird, but I was excited to see Professor Xavier coming back. Alright, so that's 360. Let's see what we got here. These should be pretty much in order. I've gone through these once before. Yep. Gambit returned. He was abandoned in issue 350, and he made his way back. And they dig into how he made his way back come in, the hunt for Xavier. So after the Cerebral issue, they wanted to go find Professor Xavier. But he made his way back, and they outlined that in his ongoing series that happened around this time. But why is he leading the Brotherhood? I don't remember why. But yeah, that would be a cool one to go over too. 365, 366, 367. So Magneto, and that's probably Joseph, the Magneto War. No, yep, because he's still mad because Magneto yanked out his adamantium like years ago. The Unstoppable Juggernaut. 370. We should be running up to Revolution soon. That Flash in the Pan. Warlock and Save. The Dawn of M-Tech. The Shattering. I didn't miss the issue. Ooh. Colossus and Rasputin. I can't remember what his brother's name was, but I thought it was something Rasputin. Team Shattered. Trapped in a World Gone Mad. I don't remember what the green smoke was. Oh, giant size anniversary issue 375. Professor Xavier doing an autopsy on Wolverine because he died. They always die and come back. Oh, 2 issues for that one. And then Apocalypse to 12. I remember this one. It came up in the early issues of X Factor. But then it didn't get mentioned for years, decades maybe, about who the 12 were and what their purpose were. It was to... People thought it was to defeat Apocalypse when they first talked about the 12 most powerful mutants. It was actually who Apocalypse needed to recharge himself. So that's what this whole the 12 is. He's trying to gain power to become all-powerful. And then they redid the Age of Apocalypse, the Ages of Apocalypse. They didn't cancel the series. These were just one-issue offs, part of the storyline to get all the X-Men, or the 12 back to finish the power-up of Apocalypse. This was always a cool issue. Cyclops ended up sacrificing himself and dying here as well. He was on it back. They did a mini-series that brought him back. 386, and then 381. Looks a little prismatic. Oh, yep, Revolution, that's why. That's why there's this one probably folds out. But in this one, this is where Gambit takes over the Uncanny X-Men books, and Rogue takes over the X-Men books as the leaders. Yep, you guys see that one? Oh, see, yeah. Several issues. Oh, there's the difference. Free top playing card in this one. Probably still in there. But yeah. Oh, sold. Very neat. Double issue again. Triple issue. Yeah. You should just see if these are worth anything on the eBay. 384. Like I said, this was an interesting run where Gambit was kind of leading them during the Revolution. But eventually, the comic that inspired the movie, this is when the X-Men movie came out, and that was disappointing to some comic book fans. Oh, where Rogue and Gambit kind of reunite. I have an alternate cover. I'll see if I can find of them. It should be them kissing. 386. 87. The maximum security stuff. This is where you can find aliens tried to lock down the Earth. Don't remember Dream's End. But in Bishop, there is an issue 3 of 4 and issue 4 of 4. Now I got 1 of 4. So now I know I should probably have at least all those issues for if I ever reread them. And this is where Colossus, they finally got the... And I actually thought it was anticlimactic, but Beast finally figured out how to cure the legacy virus, but in order for it to be spread, the mutant who injected the cure had to activate their powers, which would kill them. And that's what Colossus did. There was talks about bringing Colossus back as a golem. Oh, and see, 381, you can kind of hear it. This is where now they try to make the Uncanny, or the X-Men comic books look more like the movie. You see the black, and North Star heals from Alpha Flight. I believe he was like the first gay superhero. I don't remember. Double. 383, Eve of Destruction. Don't remember that storyline, but I do have 2 covers. Yep, this is where they tried to make everything movie related. Definitely should get rid of those covers. I was a Cyclops Jean Grey fan, not a Wolverine fan. I always thought that was more good as a friendship, but they kept trying to make it romantic. Ooh, this is where they go to bring Chamber into the X-Men, because Generation X had ended. You know, I saw that in the last video, no, 2 videos ago. So you kind of see now we're getting to the ones where I really don't remember at all, which is why I'm trying to go through them kind of quickly, because I'm really just looking at the covers, making sure that all the issues are here. Now I'm missing one. 398, 397. So you kind of see they're there. Trying to get the issue 400. Oh, and then they brought in this one. Her mutant powers was like pheromones. And then he ended up hooking up with Cannonball's little sister. It's all very weird. In issue 400. And I believe in this one they had Nightcrawler was trying to do something. Like becoming a pulp or something. Just weird. Enough said. I believe this is the silent issue where there is no writing. 401. Hey there. I see you have found some content from Odds and Ends by Jar. So while I got your attention, let me tell you about the types of content we have to offer. Then we have Tales from Someone Else. These videos are just short little stories I have found and I liked enough to try to narrate and share with you. Sometimes seasonal, but always fun. You should definitely take a listen. And watch too. I do some low-level animating and would love your opinions in the comments. Alrighty, thanks for listening to what we here at Odds and Ends by Jar have to offer, and who really knows what subject will pique my interest next time? Not me, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so the content pops up in your stream. Now, back to the content you were consuming. And then we got, a big blob in issue 402. Don't really remember these guys. That's Chamber. Issue 405. Yeah, I probably should open it up. I thought that was Banshee, but... And then there's Mystique. 407. Yeah, like I said, she was like a prostitute or something and used her pheromones to dupe people. 409. Oh, there's Nightcrawler with this priest thing. This is where we had gotten... If you watched the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, you had Cassandra Nova. She would have popped up in the X-Men issues around this time, I believe, to be the big bad. And there's also had Extreme X-Men going on by Chris Claremont. And they were chasing Destiny's Diaries. There's North Star again. And at the time, they ended up starting a school. But that could have been an X-Men, not Uncanny X-Men. And you can kind of see they had the whole religious thing where they were going to expose him as a demon to the world. That once again, you know, ridicule mutants. For 17. 418. 419 and 420. I'm sorry, that's just me chuckling. Yeah, you kind of see Angel and Husk. I always thought that was weird because she was like way too young, but you know how they are with comic book characters. Everybody ages until a certain age, then they stop and people around them keep aging. Okay, so these I'm gonna move over here so I don't lose them, and let's go. Uncanny X-Men 421, 422, 423, only 25 cents. Nah, it didn't last long. Holy War. Then look, Havoc's back. Yeah, that's right. Havoc would have came back around here. There's Polaris. So he, around here is when Cyclops must have found Havoc in the hospital. And it's kind of where they broke up, which was sucky because I liked Polaris and, yep, the Draco epilogue. So, but I liked Polaris and Havoc together for some reason. I'm hoping that we'll see their uniforms change back to their colorful ones. The Draco, the prologue. Okay. Yeah, so these would have had like little crossover. These would have been completely Uncanny X-Men stories. I wonder if that's Husk. Yep, and you kind of see the uniforms changed a little bit again, which I was relieved about because he had to add some color back in. They're not, it's not real life. It is cartoon. It's entertainment. The Trial of the Juggernaut. I believe he got the She-Hulk to be his lawyer here. And around this time, Angel had gotten like healing powers from his blood. Yep, see there they are again, Angel and Husk, and he ended up with a sword. 440. 441. And 442. 443. 444. It's a cool cover. And back in the color for costumes. That's nice to see. 46. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of these. Oh, and Chris Claremont has came back. I wonder when that happened. Ooh, must have happened just around here. Yeah. Yeah, because Chris Claremont, when X-Men and Uncanny X-Men started using the black leather covers, you know, uniforms, Extreme X-Men, which was by Chris Claremont, still used the colorful ones. 450. Yeah, for being such a key issue, it's amazing I don't remember anything about it. Oh, X-23, she came out. And this is where we're teetering off. So my last issue would have been 453. That's not bad, like 265 to 453, solid run, and some scattering of earlier issues that I don't remember getting. But those are those issues. And you can kind of see I got some stuff over there. But yeah, those are my Uncanny X-Men issues. All there. Like I said, gonna have to pull out doubles, but eventually these can get boxed up and put away. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, well, that sucks. But otherwise, please, thanks for watching, and please take care, keep safe.